my story map out along the front, I think, and then we're going to come up with ideas to create our story. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Could I just ask this little front row, could you just shuffle back a little bit so that I can put out my story rope? Is that okay? Perfect. Because when we do our story, we have to follow the path, don't we, of the story. And that's what we're going to do today. All right? Now, who can remember how we sometimes start a story? How do we sometimes start a story? Who can tell me? How do we sometimes start a story? It's a capital letter, and what words do we say? You could start it with I. Have you read some stories that start the same sometimes? Like a fairy tale story. How do they sometimes start? Oh, who said that? Who said Once Upon a Time? Well done. You know that too. Good. You can, but we want to start it with Once Upon a Time because that's a really, really good way to start a story. Can everybody show me your hands like this? And when we say Once Upon a Time, we do an action of opening a book. So can everybody open their book? Everybody say Once Upon a Time.
Once upon a time.
Everybody say Once Upon a Time.
Once upon a time.
Everybody do the action Once Upon a Time. And when we open our book and when we open a story, lots of exciting things happen, don't they? Yes? That's right, and we might write about that today. Okay, so I've got a picture of a book to put at the start of our story. So Once Upon a Time. And then in our story today, I think we're really lucky today because what's up in the sky today? The sun. So we're going to have our story saying, one sunny day today. Okay? Then somebody said, something bad sometimes happens in a story, doesn't it? So in our story, when something bad happens, we're going to go like this. And that's unfortunately. So everybody say, unfortunately. And when something unfortunately happens, it's not always nice, is it? So you might unfortunately fall over in the playground and hurt your knee.
Yeah, that's what happened to me last year.
Oh dear. So everybody say, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So for unfortunately, Mrs. Dobney's got a well done, a sad face on her story map.
It's a sad emoji.
But then in the story, everything turns out okay.
Happy.
A happy face. A happy face. And when we've got a happy emoji and a big smiley face,
Yes.
and we say, luckily.
Luckily.
So luckily, it all turned out okay. Everybody say luckily.
Luckily.
And then the story,
Hand.
a hand for finally. So finally, they all live happily ever after. Okay? So who can remember what the action is for my book?
Oh.
And what words do we say? Good girl. Everybody say it. Once upon a time. Then we didn't do one for our son, but we could do this, couldn't we? We could do one sunny day. Everybody say one sunny day. And then the sad face. Good boy. Unfortunately. Everybody show me your sad faces. Unfortunately. And then happy face was, what was the word we're going to start our sentence with? Luckily. Everybody say luckily. And to finish our story, good boy, you said it. Finally, well done. So everybody say finally. Good. Now, to come up with a story, we've got to come up with some really good ideas, haven't we, for a story?
Yeah.
So I was thinking our story today could be about an animal. So have a little think, put your thinking caps on, and have a little think about some animals you would like our class story to be about today. And if you've got an idea, put up your hand and let's see what animals we could maybe jot down in our who box. Who is our story going to be about today? Don't call out now. Oh, I like that one. So we've got elephant. An elephant. What would you like? A zebra. Okay. What would you like? A cheetah, my goodness, these are fantastic animals. And what would you like? A tiger. And so I heard somebody say a panda. And what would you like? A giraffe. Right, we'll take one more. Now, if I've not put your idea up here, it's okay, because keep it in your head, because you'll be able to use it a little bit later when you're going to write your own stories. Okay? So let's take one more. A cat. Right. Now, we need to think about our story. Our character in a story is always somewhere. They're always in a place, aren't they? So it could be, if you think of a fairy tale, Cinderella is in the castle, isn't she? So let's think of places. So where could our story take place? Where could it happen? Where would we like our story to take place today? Where? So we could have a castle, yeah. We could have a forest. I like that one, forest.
Here.
We could have, what else could we have? Where else could it be? Yes, so that's a character, isn't it? But today our story is going to be about an animal, but when you think about your own little story later, you could have a witch in your story, okay? Where? In a house, good boy, we could have a house. What else could we have? A zoo? Well done, because you know what you're doing there? You're thinking about the characters that are on this list that would be in a zoo, aren't you?
Pick your lunch.
Good girl for thinking about that.
A cave.
Oh, I like that one, a cave. Oh, I do like that one.
A palace.
Oh, a palace. Right, we'll take one more idea for where our story can take place. Oh, I like that one. Okay, so we've got lots of ideas in our where our story could happen. Now, in a story, something always happens. Because if something didn't happen, it wouldn't be a very exciting story, would it?
No.
So something usually happens to our character in the story. So if you have a look at these characters, what could we say could happen in the story? So for instance, they could maybe lose something, or they maybe can't find something, or they could fall and hurt themselves. What ideas could you have? What could happen to our character in our story? What could happen? You could get lost. Oh, I like that one. So gets lost. That's a super idea. Well done. What else could we have? Yes.
We could have bad wolf.
Oh, so there could be another character. They meet another character, like the big bad wolf. So meet a bad character.
Mrs. Moon.
Meet
Mrs. Moon. Mrs. Moon.
meet a bad character. What else?
A storm comes.
Oh, I like that one. A storm. Yes, and then you can think about, oh, if it's stormy and windy, what could happen? Could maybe get blown away or something like that, couldn't they?
Tornado.
Oh yes, well that could come into the storm, couldn't it? Well done for knowing that word, a tornado. Excellent. See that again, darling?
Smart cat. That's
Smart
another
cat.
character.
That's a character, isn't it? But what could happen to the cat?
Well, Smurf Cat would get lost in the forest.
Okay, so we've got lost. Good boy. So we've already got lost. Lightning. Yep, so it could be bad weather. Let's just put bad weather. Okay. Bad weather. So we've got lost, meet a bad character, bad weather. Anything else that could happen?
He could fall down on top.
Oh, I like that idea. A tree falls down. Super ideas. And one more. They could fall. Let's just put fall. character. We've got lots of ideas of where our story could take place, and then we've got lots of ideas of what could happen to our character. Now we're now going to choose one thing from each of Mrs. Dobney's circles. Okay? So I think for today, I think we're going to go with, let's see, what could we go with? I think we're going to go with an elephant in a, oh, let's make it silly. Should we make it silly?
No.
No, you don't want to make it silly. Right, who would like to choose a setting? Who would like to choose where our elephant could be? And it doesn't have to be where you think it would be. It could be different. Okay, because that would make our story a bit more exciting. Okay, where would you like our elephant to be? Choose one from our where box. We've got castle, forest, house, zoo, cave, palace or hotel.
Palace.
Oh, right.
Palace.
So we're going to go with palace. And then who would like to choose what's going to happen to our elephant? So we've got the elephant gets lost. We've got the elephant meets a bad character. We've got that the elephant's in a storm or bad weather. We've got a tree falls down, or we've got that the elephant falls. Who would like to choose what happens to our elephant?
Bad weather.
Bad weather. So that's the three things we're going to go with in our story, but all of the other ideas on the board you could have a go later in making your own story. Okay? So, we're going to create our story together. Is everybody sitting comfortably?
Yeah.
How does our story start?
Once upon a
Well done. So, hands together. So we're going to say, once upon a time, there was an... Everybody do an action for an elephant. So let's do that again. Once upon a time, there was an elephant. Now, could we describe our elephant? What are they like, elephants? Big. Big. Could we think of a better word than big? Enormous. Right, let's do that. Don't pull out now. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Sit down. Sit back. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go with an enormous elephant. Okay, so we're going to go with once upon a time there was an enormous elephant who, everybody do who? Who lived in a palace. What could we do for palace? What action could we have? What action could we have? Oh yes, I like that one. Everybody do this for palace. And I heard people wanting to add to it. Sparkly palace. So we could do sparkly palace. We'll go with sparkly just now, okay? So back to the beginning of our story. How do we start it? Once upon a time, there was a huge... Oh, did Mrs. Dobney say it wrong?
Yeah.
Because enormous is an even better word than huge, isn't it? Right, let's go again. Once upon a time, there was an enormous elephant who lived in a sparkly palace. That's the end of that sentence. Now we're going to go to our sun. Wait a minute. Well, how is the sentence going to start? One, no, the second sentence, our sunshine. One sunny day. Okay, so how could we do sun? Should we just go like that, just in front of us? One sunny day, the elephant was caught in bad weather. How could we do bad weather? What could we do for weather? Oh, I like that. Oh, I like the wind. Right, let's go back. So one sunny day, the enormous elephant was caught in bad weather. Now, what could happen to him in the bad weather? So, unfortunately, what's going to happen to the elephant in the bad weather? Oh, Mrs. Dobney always picks somebody that's sitting beautifully. Who's sitting beautifully? What could happen to the big elephant? Right, and it must be really bad weather if it's blown an elephant away. Now, where could he blow him away to? What could he blow him into? Into a tree, right, okay. So, unfortunately, the enormous elephant, oh, we forgot that, elephant, was what? So could we go, everybody go, blowing into a, can we do a tree? Can we see your branches? Well, we've got that for palace though, haven't we? So we need to do something different. Just show me funny hands and fingers for trees. Okay, so let's do our unfortunately. So unfortunately, the enormous elephant was blowing into a tree. We're already halfway through our story. Should we go back to the beginning and see if you can remember it so far? Right, hands together. Once upon a time, there was an enormous elephant who lived in a sparkly palace. One sunny day, now I think we actually need to change one sunny day. Why do you think Mrs. Dobby thinks we need to change one sunny day? Because, yeah, but also because of the bad weather. So instead of one sunny day, what could we have? One stormy day? One rainy day. Okay, so we could go like that then, couldn't we? So one rainy day, the enormous elephant, what were we going to say there? What did we say for our second sentence? Oh, that's the third sentence. Forgot to do that. Right, back to the beginning then. Everybody back to the beginning. Once upon a time, there was an enormous elephant who lived in a sparkly palace. One rainy day, the elephant, what did the elephant do? Okay, so it was blown, let's go, was blown away by the bad weather. Unfortunately, the enormous elephant was blown into a tree. Next sentence. Luckily, so what could happen to him? Or who could come and help him? Luckily, yeah, at the back. Oh, love that. What could we have for Mum? Mum, or we could just point, yeah? Or Mum, point to yourself. So Mum, or his Mum, yeah? Okay, so luckily, or we could just go heard, couldn't we? So luckily, his Mum heard him and came to help. Okay, so let's do that sentence. Luckily, his Mum heard him and came to help. Finally, what did they do? Where did they go back to? Where did they go back to? The palace. So finally, they both went back to the palace and were we could have happily ever after, or we could say safe from the storm, couldn't we? Yeah, should we do that? So finally, they walked home to the palace and were safe from the storm. Right, do you think we could stand up and tell our 5-sentence story? Right, everybody stand up. Now, if you spread out so that you're in a kind of semicircle, come and stand here, you'll be able to see the story map and the pictures. If you stand there, darling. Come in here, you stand there, you stand there. Right, if you go over there, look, and you'll be able to see the pictures. You come in here, darling, and then you can see, okay? And I want to see everybody doing their actions, okay? So we can follow our story, okay? So, what do we start with? So, once upon a time, there was an enormous elephant who lived in a sparkly palace. One rainy day, the enormous elephant was blown by a storm. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the enormous elephant was blown into a tree. Luckily, his mum heard him and came to help. Finally, they both went back to the palace where they were safe from the storm. Well done, give yourselves a clap. That was super. You've been able to tell a 5-sentence story. Well done. Right, now, what I want you to do now is, because Mrs. Dockley's finished your 5-sentence story, but what I would like you to do is to sit down on the carpet with a friend, with a partner, and I want to see if you can come up with a 5-sentence story with your friend, and you can choose anything from our circles. So everybody sit down. 5, 4,
Caleb.
3,
That's it. Go together.
1. Right, sit down as a 3. Boys, sit down as a 3. You can go together in a little group. Sit down together in a group of 3, okay? Yeah, you're at 1, 2, 3 together. You're a group, okay? So, you can come up, listen, you can come up with a story about an elephant again if you want, a tiger, a zebra, a panda, a cheetah, a giraffe, or a cat. And you can put them in a castle, a forest, a house, a zoo, a cave, a palace, or a hotel. Okay, and I want to see you doing once upon a time, one day, unfortunately, luckily, and finally. Okay, so you have a chat with your partner and see if you can come up with a 5-sentence story. Okay? Just one partner, you two together. What's your story going to be about? Which animal? A cat. Okay, and where could your cat be? Which setting? In a palace again, fantastic. And what could happen to your cat? You tell your story with your actions once upon a time, okay? What's your story going to be about? Which cat, which animal? A panda. And where could your panda be? In the zoo, good. And what would your panda happen to? Either one, it doesn't matter. You choose one. The zoo, yes, go with the zoo. So go with the zoo. Panda in the zoo, and something happens to the panda in the zoo. What would happen? Okay, and what did they have to do?
Well, you chose my cat and select
Right, great. Here's your story to tell that story, because that's a really good idea. Okay? That's fine. So you can pick up a story. So which animal do you want to go with? What animal do you want to go with? An elephant, a tiger, a zebra, a cheetah, a panda, a giraffe, a cat, or an animal of your choice. It could be another animal. A cheetah, right, and where could your cheetah be?
one. So let's cat. Once upon a time.
Okay, and what might happen to the whale?
Well, your cat would have a bag of mushrooms.
So we do this for
Or
a
something like that.
super cat. That's him carrying his bag of mushrooms. Right?
Make sure you're doing your actions with your partner, okay? Once upon a time, unfortunately, luckily, finally, okay? She's just going to the toilet. Girls, what have you got for me? I can see you doing actions. Cheetah, okay. And where is your cheetah? What's going to happen to your cheetah? Oh my goodness, right, can you start with your once upon a time then and tell me? One. Is it going to be a sunny day or a rainy day? So one rainy day. Okay, so unfortunately, into the hole, okay?
But remember it's 5 centimeters.
Then luckily, and how did the rhino help him out? How might you do it? So what did you do? Okay, and finally, I look at that story. Do you think you two could share that story in front of everybody else? Could you just practice it? Can you practice it? Okay, excellent, girls. Well done. Oh, here's another good one. Oh, what's your story about? A cat. And where's your cat? In the forest, and what's going to happen to the cat? Oh no, right, start at the beginning of your story. Okay, so once upon a time. Don't forget your who lived in the forest. What kind of day? Is that a sunny day or rainy day? Stormy day? So how are you going to do stormy day? So one stormy day. Unfortunately, that would be luckily. So unfortunately, so once he got stuck, so unfortunately what happened? Okay, so luckily, we're going to do this before your team. Finally, what's going to happen in the end? Finally, yay, well done! Right, keep practicing 5 sentences on the Oh, one of my favourite books. One of my favourite books. Right! Now, who's been practicing their story? Who managed to come up with a story? Excellent. Now, I've been going around listening to different stories and they're really good. And I've chosen 2 girls who are going to come out and share their 5-sentence story with you. So could you be a really good audience and listen really carefully to them? Is that okay? Right, girls, do you want to come out? Right, you go and sit down for me. Yeah, go and sit down. Right, make sure everybody can see you. Stand over this way a wee bit so that the people over here can see you. That's it. Right, on you go. Tell your 5-sentence story.
Once upon a time, there was a cheetah who lived in a forest.
One, what kind of day?
One rainy day, unfortunately, he fell into a hole and a tree fell on top of him. Luckily, a rhino came and pulled the tree so the cheetah could get out. They became best friends and lived happily ever after. The end.
Well done. Give them a clap. That was such a good story. Well done, girls. Thank you so much. You can go and sit down. Has anybody else got a story they think they could share? Right. You 2 girls want to come out to the front. Don't forget to do your actions for your sentence starters. Okay? Right? So, once upon a time, let's start together. Once upon a time,
there lived a cat in a forest. Then
What? Start again. Right. Once upon a time, there was a little cat who lived in a
forest.
What kind of day was it? One stormy day. What happened?
A tree fell into a hole and the cat went into the hole.
Okay, so unfortunately,
Unfortunately, a tree fell onto that road.
okay, and luckily,
His mum heard them,
and what did Mum do?
left the tree and took his cat into the car.
And finally,
Finally, the cat
finally the cat was
was safe.
safe. Well done, give them a clap for their story. Well done, girls, you can have a seat. Now, who enjoyed making up those stories? Well done. Now, Mrs. Dobney's going to another school soon, but what I would really like you to do is, if it's okay with your teacher, is if we give you out a piece of paper, could you draw your story map of the story that you've just made up with your partner? Do you think you could do that? No, not write it, draw it. Just like Mrs. Dobney. Can you draw the story map of your story? Okay? Yes, draw the thing. So if it was a cat, you would draw a cat. If it was an elephant, you would draw an elephant. Okay? Right, can you go back to your tables? Well done, everybody. Super storytelling.